The best team does not always win. In fact, at the World Cup, the stronger team often fails to beat teams that look far weaker on paper. Spain are ranked second in the world, yet they were recently held to a goalless draw by a team ranked 67th, a team whose star player was reportedly recruited through LinkedIn. At first glance, that sounds like bad luck, or a surprising one-off result, but it is neither. What happened is part of a pattern that appears again and again at almost every World Cup. It is a psychological pattern, and once you understand it, these results start making a lot more sense. When a small team faces a giant, both sides are not actually playing the same game. The favorite is trying to win, while the underdog is trying not to lose. Those might sound similar, but they require completely different approaches. Winning demands creativity, risk-taking, movement, and moments of brilliance. Not losing is much simpler. It requires discipline, organization, and players staying in the right positions. When 10 players stand between the ball and the goal almost disappears. Spain dominated possession, controlled the tempo, completed thousands of passes, and fired 27 shots. Yet they still could not score, because controlling the ball is not the same thing as creating space. And without space, even the best attacks begin to struggle. This is where the psychology becomes fascinating. The favorite enters the match carrying expectations. The fans expect victory. The media expect victory. Most importantly, the players expect victory. So when the goals fail to arrive, pressure begins to build. Every passing minute increases frustration. Every missed chance creates doubt. Players start forcing passes that are not there. They rush attacks that should be patient. They take shots from positions they would normally avoid. The underdog often does not need to outperform the favorite. The favorite slowly unravels on its own. This is the favorite's trap. The pressure is never on the smaller team. It is on the giant. And the bigger the giant, the heavier that pressure becomes. Spain eventually turned to Lamine Yamal, one of the brightest young talents in football. The moment he stepped onto the pitch, he looked dangerous. He instantly appeared to be the most threatening player on the field, yet even he could not find a breakthrough. Why? Because individual brilliance does not automatically break down a defensive wall. Space breaks down a defensive wall, and the underdog's entire strategy revolves around removing space. No room to pass, no room to run, no room to create. When every gap disappears, even world-class players start running out of solutions. You cannot dribble through a wall that has no openings, no matter how talented you are. If you think this only applies to Spain, history tells a different story. In 2022, Argentina entered the World Cup as the #1 team in the world and immediately lost to Saudi Arabia, who were ranked 51st. Argentina eventually won the World Cup, but first they fell into the same trap. In 2018, Germany arrived as defending world champions and were expected to cruise through the group stage. Instead, they lost to South Korea and were eliminated. Go back even further to 1950, when Brazil hosted the World Cup. They were the overwhelming favorite, perhaps the biggest favorite football has ever seen. In front of nearly 200,000 supporters, they lost the decisive match to Uruguay. Different teams, different generations, different tournaments, yet the same pattern continues to repeat itself. The reason is simple. The favorite has everything to lose, while the underdog has almost nothing to lose. And having nothing to lose is one of the most powerful mindsets in sport. Players without fear take chances that favorites often avoid. Goalkeepers nobody expected to notice suddenly produce the performance of a lifetime. Unknown players become heroes overnight. The world loves these stories because deep down, people want to believe that giants can fall. We love the possibility of the impossible. We love seeing pressure challenged by freedom. That is why these moments stay in our memories and why they never stop captivating us. Spain will probably still qualify and remain one of the strongest teams in the tournament, but every opponent watching learned something important. Spain can be frustrated. Spain can be contained. Spain can be dragged into the favorite's trap. And in a knockout competition, that knowledge is dangerous. Once doubt enters the mind of a favorite, everything changes. The favorite's trap is real. It has caught champions before, and it will catch champions again. The best team does not always lose because the underdog is better. Sometimes the best team loses because pressure turns strength into weakness. Sometimes the best team defeats itself. And for the rest of the world, there is nothing more fascinating to watch. If you enjoy this type of football psychology content, consider subscribing. And remember, the game has not changed. You have. You're welcome.